All right. Bring this message session to order. Order in the court.
It's not a message, John. It's a meeting.
Mr. Strawn?
This meeting is undercover. No one knows we're in here. It's 3 a.m.
This particular session of the grand jury is brought here to bring charges against Graham Shirley Strawn.
Objection. Overruled. Go home.
Perpetrating tapes of Skyhooks on the public.
Guilty.
You want to know about the tapes, John?
Guilty as charged.
Actually, I think you could probably ask Nixon a little bit more about the Skyhooks tapes.
Well, being your own lawyer, Shirl, you can put the case for the defence.
I want out, man. I want out.
Bring this session back to order again. We have Strawn, Spencer and McCainch.
Let's pretend Bongo Starkey and Fred Strauchs are here, but in actual fact they're both gardening and Bongo's got his own business outside this secret world of Skyhooks tapes.
He never visited.
Okay, can we roll the tapes? Drum roll.
Hello, kids. Once upon a time, in 1974, there was a little band, a little fairy band, called Skyhooks. Pitter, patter, pitter, patter, pitter, patter. There's a little bit of fairy foot tapping for you. Anyway, this band was made up of 5 fairies. This is what they were called for a long time before they were made into masculine fairies. Anyway, as you know, the first fairy record ever made by the fairy band Skyhooks was Living in the 70s, which became big selling history. And it sold 10 gold records, which in Gob Whitlam's words would be not bad. Anyway, now the Fairies Band has developed.
Shut up, Shirl. Give her a go.
In other words, they've matured.
We've grown up. I mean, we're no longer a bunch of fairies. We're big butch goblins now. Gobbling up the Australian Sea. From north to south, east to west.
Dare we say it, we're the best?
What is all this Richard Nixon type paraphernalia with espionage and...
Don't ask us, we're just the artists, you know. We're just manipulated, John, you know.
James Bond, 7 bottles of scotch on the back and...
Yeah. Well, I know the gun on the inside's got a lot of significance, actually. That's the only thing I really know.
I mean, I really didn't ever think that you guys would stoop to a greatest hits album.
It's not.
I thought it was...
We haven't.
You were very, very smart.
We got out of that real nice, didn't we, John?
Yes.
Up here for thinking, down there for marriage.
What's your excuse? What is your excuse, Graham?
My excuse? Look, I excuse myself. Greg, take over.
You can leave the room.
You never thought we put out a greatest hits album?
No.
Well, I don't think we ever will either.
I thought it was... well, you haven't had a start, have you?
No,
you need more than one hit, you know?
Well,
That's
actually...
right.
Now, Gadinsky can really let this go because he's got 4 albums in the chart. He doesn't need the money.
No, right.
No. They've got a lot of
I think
overheads down there.
We wanted this album to go out, you know, for free, but unfortunately they put a price on it.
I think they should give it away.
Yeah.
Well, haven't they already? You've got one.
Reminiscing on that immaculate tape, can we just go back and tell all these people who it is we're talking to here? I mean, it's obvious, isn't it?
Time, gentlemen.
Please. Greg McCainch.
Hello.
Being the base member, I mean the founding member of Skyhooks, can you recollect that first momentous day that we made history here in this studio?
What did we do?
And did the first special on you guys?
Oh, he wasn't here.
I think I might have.
No, he was here, actually.
I was here.
Were you here, John?
That was the first and last one he turned up for.
Oh, that's right. Well, he went into hiding, actually. McCainch has come out of his shell a lot in the last 12 months.
Yes.
Mainly because we
can
cut
see-
it open and he can get
I
out.
can see the cracks.
Yeah.
Seriously, before
Well,
I play the national anthem.
I think I can just remember it. It wasn't very different to today, actually.
No,
We were all a bit younger.
No, I can remember.
19, I do recall.
John
Yes,
was
we were all
single,
19.
so was I.
I'm still married, Cheryl. What have you got to say?
I'm not anymore, mate.
But seriously, can we just, when you guys came in here, I mean, there was this incredible mystique about this weird bunch of Carlton lunatics.
I was never from Carlton.
And there wasn't, but that was the whole thing that everybody
Yeah.
thought, you know, I mean, there was that whole Carlton mystique about you. Everybody thought, well, if you're an interviewer, you don't go near Skyhooks because they'll
Give you hell.
scratch your back and tear your eyes out. And
Do all
that
those
sort of
nice things that jockeys do to
stuff. And you were
themselves.
much quieter in those days. You're younger than that now.
No, he wasn't.
Yeah, I sort of figured that I'd sort of talk to people when I had something to say rather than sort of try and make it up on the spot, you know.
Like some of those people in the band, yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yes,
So,
well, we got rid of him. He's cool.
pink slip in the pay packet. Yeah, but I used to just stay at home and write songs, you know. But
now that you've got nothing to say on the songs, you come in here and talk and make it up on the spot.
No, not true.
What was the first song you ever wrote for the Hooks?
For the Hooks specifically.
Yeah.
Oh, I think it might have been. I think Turak Cowboy, and All My Friends were one of the first ones that we ever sort of started rehearsing when we were getting the Skyhooks together.
Yeah.
I think it was probably even before we had the name Skyhooks.
All My Friends was that early?
Yeah,
about
yeah.
71 was it?
I would have written that in about 1970, late 72, I think. But
1970,
I
late
left.
72.
Just after I left.
Yes, that's a good time.
No, the first time.
Yeah, right. Well, that was well before Shell got married. I remember when that song came out, everybody was
All I
saying
just
that
did
was
is
all about...
just a cheap publicity stunt, really.
No, it was really that was a real coincidence because we were planning on putting it out because the Ego album had come out and we had the title track out as a single, and I think that was going to be the second single off the album. And Shell went over to London and sort of said, oh, well, you know, I may or may not get married. And I remember I was living in St Kilda at the time, and I got up and I went down to Acton Street in the morning and I walked into a newsagent's and picked up the Sun, and there it was, Shell married.
What's the next track, John?
It's called Party to End All Parties. And,
Look, we could bring the boy in.
Yeah, well, all right.
It was his first time playing with us.
Bob Spencer,
Plastic
welcome
instrument.
along.
Good morning.
Have you met John before? Now, he's a big man in the industry. Be nice to John.
He reckons I have, but I can't remember the face.
Yeah.
I mean, with a
He's
face
grown-
like that.
he's grown a
You
beard
never
since then.
say that. You never say that, those people.
Oh,
They
I
can
see.
just rub you into the ground,
Sorry,
son.
John.
He's
you
an honest
informed
man.
me.
I don't mind. I just won't play his records. It's all.
Know the feeling. Know the feeling.
How's it been with these guys, Bob?
Unreal.
Yeah. Boring, I bet.
Oh, yeah, it's pretty boring, you know. No, it's real good.
Nothing happening.
Remember who pays your
No,
bread?
things are happening. I
Well,
think.
listen, you've been playing in rock and roll bands for a little while now. I mean, with Skyhooks and talking of Party to End All Parties.
Were we talking of Party to End All Parties?
Yeah.
We were.
What
Okay, we'll talk.
What is it like being at a party with these guys?
I have
mean,
never
can you
been
tell
at
us-
a party with all these guys.
That is a
Have I?
lie.
Can you
Yeah,
tell
yes,
us
I have. It's somebody's place.
of any classics that you've been to? What's the best party you've been to with the Hooks?
He doesn't know.
I don't know. I really
See,
don't.
Spencer,
know that.
can't
Spencer,
remember.
Spencer has this problem.
Yeah, I don't
When he's
think
at
you
a
can
party.
remember. Listen, every Saturday night, Spencer and I go out to a party down at that place in.
Yeah.
Actually, Spencer has this problem because he wears glasses and he moves so fast. He can't remember faces too well at parties. He's never standing still long enough. It's nyong into the kitchen, nyong into the lounge room, nyong out the front, nyong in here, all night, all day. Bobby Spencer, not Mary Ann.
Tell them about the guitar
You sound like
solo
you
on
should
Party
never
to
have
End All
looked forward.
Parties.
Party, yes, Party in All Parties, the guitar break. I was asleep at
Yeah,
about 8 o'clock
let's get
in the
musical
morning.
for a change, yeah?
Yes,
Right.
get musical. You need this on.
Move into the
on,
microphone. You're going to get it.
You really do need this musical expose on the industry, I assure you. It was about 8 o'clock in the morning. I've been sleeping for about an hour after we'd worked since
What do
midnight.
you mean you'd worked? I was singing
After
from
weed-
12 until 4 in the
weed,
morning. You were playing pool.
Baloney.
Bob's going to tell us
He was
about
playing
that break.
pool.
Believe that. Look,
These people think
you
they
got
work.
you got your fairy story in at the beginning. I mean, really.
Fairies.
Somebody else was supposed to be doing the break. And I got tapped on the shoulder. I was asleep, and the guy said,
Wake up!
come out here for a minute. And they put me in the studio, and I tuned up, and I started playing, and after about 3 or 4 takes, I realised that I wasn't supposed to be playing there. And I thought, I'm not supposed to be playing in this part of the song.
Supernaut were doing something in the other studio, actually, at the time.
It's terrible.
He walked in the wrong studio.
But we ended up doing it.
Oh, look, terribly sorry.
Ego is not a dirty word.
This is our second album. We're doing a laid-back second album, this one. Because the first one was hyped up! That was when we had lots of energy, and we were touring, and we had no money, but now we've got sheer exhaustion.
The other reason we're doing this interview laid back is because there aren't any mic stands, so we're lying on the floor to do it.
That one probably went over the heat. Just
I'm sorry, too deep.
Speaking of egos, I think we'll leave the fairies go for a while because we're not really fairies, you know. Like, just because I've got a name Shirley, that might be a fairy. Unusual, yes, but fairy, no, you know, like Rocco. Now, that's this gentleman sitting on my...
Hello,
So-
kids. I'm the cultured one that you've probably known and loved.
So much, don't forget the last line.
So much, yes.
Do you reckon you could tell us a few words about ego's not a dirty word, which is
the first track off the Skyhooks' new album, Ego's Not a Dirty Word album?
Well, I'll be perfectly frank. I think probably the reason the first album and the first track are so successful is because of my superlative guitar playing.
Cut that tape. How did he get into here?
Probably had nothing to do.
Well, I figured since we were doing a show on the Skyhooks tapes, we'd have to listen to some of your lunatic antics from back in, what was it, 1974 or 75?
I've forgotten, John, really.
Well, I've got it down
It's
here.
aged so much. You know,
7th of the 4th, 75.
I was 19 at the time.
Yes.
19, now I'm now 21. Yes, that'd be nearly 2.5 years ago, I think.
Well, I mean, now that you've had this chance to miss Red, do you miss him?
Not one bit, actually. No, look, it's...
That gossip columnist with the New York Times.
Oh, the Sunday Press, yes, no, well... Actually, I missed his column the other week. It wasn't in there.
Yeah, right.
They've dropped him already.
I don't know.
Enough.
When you guys have left here, I'm going to...
Pass the knife around. Come on, give it a twist. Come on.
I'm going to get Red into the studio after he's gone, and I'm going to get him to say every nasty thing that he can about you.
Actually, I heard him on your show not so long ago.
I was good, wasn't I?
Oh, yes. Red was still the same. He hadn't changed at all. You asked him how his things were going and when his next show was starting, and he was sort of stalling and looking through the paper in front of him at home, through the advertisement section.
He's about as organised as you are.
That's right. At least I'm here.
Right, well, listen, ego is not a dirty word. And it still isn't, according to you, Greg.
No, definitely.
Couldn't be. You made $1 million out of it.
Well, not quite a million.
Half a million.
Then the government,
took the other half.
What can you remember about that time? Because that was when you were in the States and you were putting the album out. Can you reflect on, like that word, reflect on how it was in America at that stage and what you can think about it now? I mean, was it a mistake to go over there? No. Remember about the tour and all that sort of stuff?
Oh, I mean, I think it was really great to play in America, and we will go back and do it again. But lots of people had the wrong idea about why we went over. They all thought we went over there to become number one, like we'd sort of
like
per chance become here. But we just went over there so we could play, and that's what we did, and record an album, and in terms of success, I mean, we certainly knew then that to become successful in America takes at least 2 or 3 albums, really.
Yeah.
I mean, some people are lucky you do it on their first one.
We were talking before about Kiss. I mean, Kiss get very little support from the media, and you've seen those guys over there, and they work like crazy all over the country.
Yeah.
I mean, do you think if you guys went to America that you could be prepared to put yourself in and do that much work to really break through and make it on that level?
There's only X amount you can do.
Well,
I mean, those guys play anywhere. I mean, they'll play. They started playing in halls of 500 and gradually built up until they were playing 15,000, 20,000 seaters.
Well, I mean, it's no harder working in America than it is here. It's probably a little easier in the sense that there's a lot more people, and so if you travel,
you get a lot more variety.
Equivalent sort of distances, you have a lot more people. Whereas here, you've really only got 4 or 5 capital cities and the country towns, but over there, like if you travel 500 miles, you can be assured you're playing in a large city. Whereas here, it's a small country town.
Well, there have been some bands now who are doing it. I mean, the Dingoes are there, and they've had some airplay, and they're playing quite a few gigs. And I got a feeling with Peter Rudge, the manager of the Rolling Stones, behind them, they're going to do all right. Eventually. LRB, of course, everybody knows about. Split Ends have been doing some touring there and getting some play. Even AC/DC are doing it. Now, does that encourage you guys to go back and do it again?
Oh, sure, yeah. But, well, I think it'll probably make it a little easier because when we were over there, being an Australian band, it was a bit of a novelty, People said, you're really from Australia, and quite often they'd say, oh, Australia, isn't that near Switzerland, on the border there? And you say, no, that's Austria.
Tim Finn said the same about New Zealand.
Yeah.
But after Angus has done a few things on stage to him, I think they'll know where they come from. That's for sure. One of the tracks you recorded over there, which I thought was one of the best songs you've done, is Crazy Heart, which you did in Sausalito for the Straight and a Go-Go World album. And we always thought that should have been a single.
Yeah, that always takes a year or so after it's happened that you say, that would have been a good single.
I think, it was a bit unfortunate, but we did have a couple of singles off that album. I think we had the $1 Million Riff one, and we had Blue Jeans.
Yeah.
But I guess Crazy Heart good singer.
Just had that nice melody, you know.
Yeah.
It suits Cheryl too.
Yeah. Crazy.
Flutter, flutter. Oh, heart. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, crazy. I'll take the crazy. Okay. Double or nothing on the crazy.
What are your impressions of Saturday night?
More
Well,
tapes.
my true impressions of Saturday Night, Redmond, would have to be that Saturday Night is the real tiki-tie Australian night, and I reckon that this track, which is the third track on side one of the Skyhooks' new album, Ego Is Not a Dirty Word, would have to be the most genuine Australian song written for many years, and I think...
Get that off. Get that off. Take that off. Hey. We're how to... Listen.
What a load
here.
of trash.
What are we
really.
doing getting...
I spoketh with full mouth.
Every time I open the microphone, more of those old Skyhooks tapes keep floating into the studio here.
People will start thinking that stuff's on the actual record.
It's not.
Is
No,
it?
No.
it's not.
Saturday
I thought
night
it was.
went. You're a together cat.
Talking of cruising for a bruising, which we weren't.
No, Frankie's left
Whoop.
off 55.
But Peter,
Peter. Oh, yes, that's right. Peter Gwynn, isn't it?
no, don't tell him his real
Oh,
name.
all right, sorry.
Actually, he's driving taxis.
Making more money,
wanted
too.
wanted to talk about that notable track that nobody has heard yet because it hasn't been played very much at all. Hot Rod James.
Hot Rod James.
Hot
yeah.
Rod James.
Hot Rod James.
He
Hot
drove
Rod
a
James
car.
Waiting for you.
Yeah, well, what we were going to call it Sin Bin Simon.
You know how they're advertising a lot of these cars at the moment, John, where you can flick up the sunroof and excuse me while I turn on the colour telly.
I drive one.
Gee, I like your plush car, but why do you put it all over the roof as well? You know all those ads about
That's
cars.
is when we roll over.
When you roll on the corner. But sort of this particular one actually we were
That's a
doing.
bigger rear vision mirror than I've ever seen too.
That's no rear vision mirror.
breaker, 10-4.
Excuse me, I'll just grab the microphone.
No, Hot Rod James is about a guy who spends all his time building this car to impress his dream girl,
She's not dreaming too much though.
but he becomes obsessed with the car and sort of forgets about girls. But
It's like that ad for the Toyota where the
Yeah.
guy's cleaning the car, which is a classic, and she thinks she thinks he's really wrapped in him, but she's really into the
That's
car.
not the one where she says, "Well, I suppose I'll eventually have to make up my mind."
No,
no,
that's brilliant.
Oh,
that's Escort. No, Escort.
I'm really into ads.
This is the one where the guy's
That's not the
cleaning
one
the
with the
car
chick-
and the guy's all over the car and he's asking the chick
Yeah.
to do all these things for the car and
Passes,
Oh, right,
passes
yeah.
the chamois, will you, darling?
Yeah.
Oh, he just loves me. I just do everything for
I mean, with all our women's liberation and our 1977 intelligentsia,
Oh,
we're
that's all
still
crap.
very basic around that sort of thing, aren't we?
Yeah, well, especially in the new car ads.
I think the women's lib are on strike at the moment with everything else.
Thank God.
No,
Yes, all you women's leaders
actually,
listening,
the other
please go
day
on
we were
strike.
down at,
We don't need
Right,
you.
Greg is getting
The
serious here.
other day we were down at Morwell
Got him
and,
wound up
I
again.
had a phone call
Who
from an anonymous person who said he was a member of the Victorian Hot Rod Club.
Oh, I
and-
saw him. I met him.
Did you?
Actually.
Yeah, and he said if we ever wanted to do a film clip, he'd lay all his hot rods on us, and I think it mentions a chopped 32 in the song, which is a 32 Ford, and you chop it in half and shorten it and all
Yeah.
that sort of stuff, and chrome all the extractors and so on. But,
Yeah.
but he was very impressed with it. I mean, I don't know too much about hot rods, but it was obviously
It's a
enough to
shame that-
impress them.
Actually, if you told them that you spent at least $5 on Hot Rod magazines to write that particular song, Greg, you left that out rather tastefully, I thought.
Yeah, I did mention Craigar mags in there. I was hoping that the Craigar people might lay a set of Craigars on me.
the
for
HR.
The HR, but
Well, if they're listening, they probably won't.
no. It's a fun song.
Oh, golly. Okay, let's get down to this one that made you no money at all because it didn't sell a cent. $1 Million Riff.
Actually, that was the first single I did when I got back from Europe. That one.
Yeah?
Because I remember coming back.
Ah, yes.
I remember coming back for that, and like I think John French, when we were in TCS doing that one, I think he had the volume for me on about 1, because I just had so much strength and everything. I was just, man, you dollar Riff, shouting my lungs out. I was just real aggro.
Yeah, Shell's got a very, very loud voice.
Yes, even when he whispers like that.
John, don't be silly.
I can remember, can you recall that night of that party up at the Baron and Beef or whatever it was?
Actually,
up
that's
until-
still that a lot of people still talk about that party.
I think that
If
was
the people don't know what we're talking about, when was it the Straight album or the Ego album?
No,
No,
it
it
was
was
the-
John-
after the Ego album.
it was after the
The announcement of the contract arrangements for the
Oh,
like,
that's
for
right,
America
yeah.
and
November
everything else.
1975.
What happened was that Michael Gudinski was very rich because Mercury had just given him $1.5 million in advances or something. Actually, he got $15,000 for the party, and he put all the people in the press and the rock media and the radio
Did you
and
come
all
to
that
that
sort
one,
of
John?
stuff. Did I? I don't think I ever got back.
I don't think Gary Ashley's ever been the same. Gary Ashley's a PR man that
Yes.
you probably
I
saw
think
wandering
put it
along
together,
Spencer
yes.
Street at 4 a.m. looking for his car.
Virtually anybody.
2 bottles of champagne out of each ear. But actually, they put us all into a train and took us up on this amazing train.
Up?
To the Dandenongs, to the Baron of Beef, and put on this great spread. I mean, it was the all-time rock and roll party in
Most
this country.
definitely.
Graham, shut up. And then you come on, and was that the night you announced the wedding?
No, I'd come back stupid. I was married after that.
You came back stupid, all right.
Yeah, right.
You
no,
hadn't changed at all.
I should have come back from
no.
Bali.
Everyone
actually.
was
Would've been
saying.
cheaper.
Everyone was saying that the band were breaking up and Cheryl was leaving and Ross
Wilson was
going to
joining.
join.
Yes,
Maybe
that's
Dave
right.
Dawson was going to join, or God knows what was going on. But
Who was telling the truth then, though?
so we got them all in the one spot and we played, with Cheryl, and that sort of seemed to satisfy everyone.
We're talking about parties before, Shirl, and this next one is really pretty mean. I mean, what
Nothing
would you...
to do with parties, though.
Yes, but what would you do with a broken gin bottle, baby?
Well, actually, I've never really been into that. I've
I
seen
mean, that is
a few
one of the
people I
meanest.
know.
That is one of the meanest titles I've ever. When I saw that, I thought, "Oh God, I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy." You're like a broken gin bottle, baby.
Our road crew do good things with gin bottles and Polaroids.
Yes,
Yeah.
they drink them both.
Now,
Yes,
we've
but
already
the,
had the Rolling Stones in trouble over this stuff. Now we'll keep this show clean, gentlemen.
When did you do an interview with the Rolling Stones?
Well, you'd be surprised. Weren't
We
you
would,
at Montsalvat that day?
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
yes.
Keith Richards'
That's right.
teeth.
Yeah.
Oh, what were left of them? He doesn't use his
extremely
nose,
silly.
he uses his mouth.
Actually, Broken Gin Bottle was the first track we put down, because when we started to record the Living in the 70s album in 1974, we were doing the whole albums, which had about 10 or 11 tracks.
Yeah.
And the first thing we recorded in the first day or 2 days, I think, was You're Like a Broken Gin Bottle, and it ended up as the B-side of Living in the 70s. And I think the reason it's on this record, also my record company executives tell me, is because people have been asking for it, and you can't buy it on that.
And it's previously unreleased on an album. I think that's that really is a classic. I thought, 5 new tracks. Haven't heard any of these. I think I might be able to play some new Skyhook stuff. And I get on there.
But you're a biggest fan.
And I've used to play them all anyhow. I mean,
If you remember rightly, didn't you tell Michael Godinsky where we were playing and he signed us up?
why did you put the other 5 tracks out? Is that the reason? Because they've been on the B-side of singles.
A lot of people a lot of people would have bought Living in the 70s album, but would never have bought the single. And a lot of people wouldn't have bought the singles from then, a single's designed to help promote an album, like to help break the thing.
And this album is definitely a Desperates album. It's a
You're very desperate for it to sell at the moment.
No. We don't, like I said, we wanted to give it away for nothing, but
Yeah.
well,
Well,
our record company's got better ideas.
I love the
and-
packaging. Who did that? Ian McClawson.
Yeah.
Well,
Same
he's
guy
done
as
some-
guitar.
Ah.
One with the
Nude?
shapely.
Yeah,
Yes, I understand. Well,
You turn it
I,
over and it's got more.
yes, it has actually.
I really like those little bits and pieces
Yes,
where you
all
get
the bit
into...
all the bit at the bottom.
Okay, Graham, will you turn the record over, please? We'll have to play a track from the other side.
You can't. You scratched it a couple of minutes ago. Remember?
Just turn it over, actually, John.
Yeah.
Which track? I wish you'd get on my
Clock you
favourite
off.
track.
We're going to play Let It Rock next. We're doing this in...
That's not bad.
We're doing this in order of tracks on the album. I
Let
couldn't
It
think
Rock.
of a
This
better...
particular one is a live track. If I
From the maxi single, released 22/3/76, recorded live at the Riff Cabaret New Year's Eve 1975 by Armstrong's Mobile through an Audiotronics 24-channel mixing console onto an Optronic 24-track tape machine engineered by Ernie Rose. Final mix was through JBL 4350 studio monitors at Armstrong Studio 2 Melbourne, previously unreleased on an album,
In other words, it cost us $60 on wheels.
instead of $100 an hour.
I'd like to explode a myth here, John,
Yes,
because
Gregory.
that particular track wasn't recorded at the Reefer Cabaret.
Is that a lie?
That is most definitely a lie. I can tell you where it was recorded.
Adelaide.
It was recorded in Adelaide.
Adelaide, we did 5 shows at the Her Majesty's Theatre,
In
of which we
Adelaide.
recorded all 5 shows.
Why would they say that?
Because we actually recorded Revolution.
Now I'm beginning
Remember
to
the
see.
live Revolution? See, these tapes, you have to, gets very
This
dicky.
album could bring down a president.
That's right, I think it did.
If we were a republic.
They're trying to
If we were
perpetrate
a
another
dictatorship.
Watergate on us.
Watergate.
Yes.
Pass me that cup of water. No, that's
The
where it
album
was
that rocked a
recorded.
nation.
Hooksgate.
Very nice, John. Very nice. You haven't lost anything.
Oh, you should be in the PR game.
Yeah.
Especially my touch. Here, reach out. You
No,
can if
thank
you
you.
like. My,
Already eaten?
my robe is on the floor.
Really?
Let It Rock. What can you remember about that particular... That was the series of gigs you did over there.
Yeah, we did 5 gigs in the
Yeah.
one place.
That was when you were popular.
Yeah, we still do 5 gigs in one place too.
You
No,
don't
that
mind
wasn't
this,
when we were popular. We were very
You had a
unpopular
holiday
then.
too, John, remember?
you don't mind this bitterness creeping into the program.
No, we can be just as bitter. Pass me that fork.
We've still been, at least been still working in the industry. I don't know what you've been doing.
No, John went to Sydney. At least that's what he told people.
Yes, and I don't think that really is in the industry. There's nothing about the Sydney that should be in Australia, I don't believe. Oh, this will probably get played up there, so we'll put that... Sorry, Bob.
Bob's from Sydney. No, you're not from Sydney. You're from Malabar.
There's a difference.
How you differentiating? Wow.
He woke up and came back too.
Yeah.
Love me.
This next song's called Last Not Good Enough, and
That's not good enough. I take
Who's that? Who?
Take him off. We don't want it. He's not here. He doesn't even belong to this group anymore. Fortunately for him. Let's move on to the next track, will we, fellas?
I could
Revolution.
lob one right between your eyes from here, but I won't.
You already are, Graham.
Oh, I should have brought my M16. Revolution. Yeah, well, this is the US version, it says.
That's the one we can play on the radio.
Yes,
Well, at least we have been.
we have. We will.
Yes.
We will
Wasn't
do
there
so.
some guffaw about that? We all got stoned and it drifted away.
Yeah, well, like Jesus got stoned too, but everyone buys the Bible and goes to church on Sunday, but no one worries about that.
I didn't know that.
Didn't you know that? What's? That's right. You told me about that. Where's the motor car mentioned in the
That'd be
Bible?
Oh, yes. When is it?
That'd be the only good book
You
you've
heard
ever
that,
read.
John?
When was the motor car first mentioned in the Bible? When Moses came forth in his triumph.
Right,
I think
right.
that's a-
We're previewing this new album called the Skyhooks Jokes, which it definitely
Oh, I've got
is.
another clincher for you. I'll tell you after
the
that.
Skyhooks hoax. No,
And we're listening to a track called Revolution US Version.
Revolution
featuring
US version.
Bongo Starkey on slide guitar.
Very heavy, this one.
This is
Very
one
heavy.
of my favourite tracks.
My
Because you
favourite.
don't play lead.
No, I didn't even play on it.
You weren't on
but
it, I
it's
know.
one of my favourite tracks.
Yes.
It's a very heavy
See,
one.
we've got an independent view there.
Yes,
you
I can
even-
see the harbour and the yachts
totally
and the boats
devoid
and the
of any-
trains.
You
Any
like playing in this group,
colourings?
do you, Bob?
Yes. What group? Yes. Oh,
What group? When do you want your pay? Oh, what pay?
yes.
Another
Hey.
pink slip.
I don't get paid.
Oh, yellow slip.
Well,
It's one of my favourite tracks.
you did this at Sausalito again. Can you
Yes.
tell us? I was lucky enough to be at Sausalito a couple of years ago, and that is one of
Which room were you in?
one of the loveliest little areas of the planet, I think.
Actually, it's very pretty up in there. It's like the foothills of the Dandenongs in amongst the ferns and stuff. It's really nice.
Sat on Sydney Harbour.
Yeah.
Yeah, which
Really
is
pretty.
nicest because it's out of Sydney.
It was full of beautiful people too who live there.
Yeah, hippies.
Yeah, like you
Yeah,
guys.
they say there's
we
more.
how long were you there?
6 weeks,
About
7 weeks.
7 weeks, yeah.
And well, I mean, what did you do there? Were you just recording?
Rehearsing. We rehearsed up the road, actually.
We were in Marin County, where who lives in Marin County? Well, Van Morrison used to live in Marin County.
Yeah.
He might still. Steve Miller.
The Birds used to live in Mount
Yeah.
Tamalpais.
Yeah.
What's his
The
name?
Grateful Dead have got
Yeah.
their offices up in Corday, Madeira, where we used to rehearse.
Name drop. He's worse than red.
Oh, and what's her name?
Sausalito, for the people who don't know, is
The other side of the bridge in San Francisco.
the Golden Gate Bridge,
Oh,
and that's where the fog rolls in every morning. And
Yeah.
I mean, it never gets above about 50 degrees in the city, but just over the bridge there, it's really beautiful, isn't it?
Oh, it was really warm over there.
Yeah, nice.
We had a
one.
lovely, it was a really nice house.
Is that why the laid-back version of Revolution?
Revolution? Well, it's not really. It's a different feel. Like it's sort of the original one was dun,
Funkified.
dun, 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 dun. This one is dun 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 dun.
One's
dun,
in
dun.
sort of skip timing, others in.
Yeah. I think it's time for a joke.
Another one.
Yes.
Ooh, warning.
Warning. Warning.
Thought
Warning.
that last song was a bit of a joke. Can you tell us something
It wasn't
better?
a joke. It was a good song. That one. Actually, there's
Revolution
this
number
lunatic.
9, number 9, number 9, number 9.
This
number
lunatic
9,
collected
number
bricks. You see, John.
9. Yes.
And what's the next track we're going to play?
Blue Jeans.
Blue Jeans. All right. Yes. This particular.
that's it?
Yes. At the end of this particular joke, we'll just jump straight into the
Blue Jeans.
blue jeans, because this particular lunatic wore blue jeans. He was a brick collector, right? So he didn't like wearing normal clothes because he'd get brick dust all over it. But he collected thousands.
Weren't you a builder at one stage?
Carpenter. There's a difference. So he collected all these bricks, you see, John, and he didn't know what to do with them. So he went to the pub and his mate said, "Go and see a psychiatrist." So he went and saw his psychiatrist, and the psychiatrist said, build a house. He said, bloody good idea. So he picked up some of his bricks and had his blue jeans on, which are getting a bit holey these days because concrete and dust and all over them. So he built a house. He still had bricks left over. Went and saw his psychiatrist. He said, I've got bricks left over. I built a house. And he said, build a garage for your car. He said, good idea. So he builds a garage for his car. And he's still got bricks over. So he goes and sees the psychiatrist again. He said, have you got a dog? He says, yes, I've got a dog. And he said, build him a dog kennel. He built him a dog kennel, and he's got one brick left over, right? So he goes and sees the psychiatrist again. Psychiatrist says, you built your house? He says, yeah, I've got a house now. And he says, you got a garage? He says, yeah. He says, you built a dog kennel for your dog? He says, yep. Well, what's the problem? You got rid of your bricks? He says, no, I've got one brick left over, Mr. Psychiatrist.
What can I build with that?
No, he said, what can I do with this one brick? You know what the psychiatrist said, John?
I'm speechless for the first time in my life.
Throw it up in the air. You didn't get the joke.
If Ian Anderson had told me, I would not have even
Oh,
got
well,
it.
look, all right, I'll tell you
And
another
he's
one.
as thick as a
I'll
brick.
tell you another one, mate. There's this old lady
thick as a
flying...
what?
Who?
A brick.
Ah.
That one brick.
Yeah,
What
that's
happened to that brick after you threw it up in the air?
Well, anyway, look, don't worry about that joke. That's had it now. It's gone.
okay.
You
Right,
didn't get that one.
right, there's this gentleman...
sense of humour, John.
There's this gentleman, John,
I'm losing
flying
track of this
on
interview.
a flight, and he's got a big cigar. I think it was Ugly Dave Gray, actually. Big moustache and big, ugly, fat cigar, and there's this lady sitting beside him with a poodle sitting on her lap. Anyway, this poodle was giving him the irrits because he had fleas and was barking all the time. And this particular cigar-smoking gentleman was giving her the irrits because of the cigar smoke, right? So they came to a bit of a compromise. She said, look, I'll throw my dog out the window if you throw your cigar out the window. He said, fine idea. So open the window of the plane, out goes the dog, and out goes the cigar. Close the window, continue on. Fantastic. No hassle. She's not annoyed by the cigar smoking.
Fasten seatbelts, please.
No,
smoking.
it was
We're coming in
cool.
a
They
lap.
were getting on famously, right? They were getting on famously. Anyway, this particular lady said, looked out the window and said, by God, have a look at this. So she looks out the window and there's the dog sitting on the wing of the plane. What's it got in its mouth, John?
The brick.
That's right, John!
No.
Shocking. Me.
I mean, I really did. I sat down.
Mike?
We're sitting
Right
down,
out of.
Sitting down at dinner a couple of weeks ago watching the horror movie, and I was thinking, you know, really, you were so right. I couldn't
Vincent
believe
Price?
it. That is such... I haven't seen, even The Exorcist doesn't come anywhere near it. It's crazy. You sit down there and you watch all this gore and all this heavy thing. It's such a
Forget
downer.
The Exorcist. What about the National Survival Test?
Yeah.
I failed that.
I
I don't
passed.
deserve to be here.
I passed, actually, Gregory. I thought the highlight one was the one
Every insurance...
of the party, of the picnic, and the guy swallowed the chicken bone. That was very... Actually, I didn't know that one. That's a very neat trick. But I'm also wondering what happens if you don't dislodge that bone on the first crunch.
Well, what would you do in a crowded nightclub if a fire broke out? You know, go to the bar and order another drink to wait for the smoke to clear?
I reckon every insurance company in the country is just working out how far they can up their rate on this.
Yeah, right.
All the insurance in this country after that. But I mean, you must feel like the Bob Dylan of the 70s writing a song like Horror Movie.
Oh, I don't think I'd like to be Bob Dylan. His wife's suing him for everything he's got. And his house is falling into the sea.
Can't win, can you?
Living on the fault line.
Yeah,
That's
right.
for sure. Okay, well, we're just talking about a horror movie and living in the 70s. I remember when that came out, I said to Gadinsky, that album's going to sell 100,000 copies. And he said, oh, you're joking. You know, I mean, he would have been happy if it made it a gold record then. Remember we were sitting at, was it 73 or 74? 74.
That's
And we were
right.
sitting in the caravan at Sunbury.
Sunbury's.
And the rain was pouring down. And the thing eventually went on. So how many did it eventually sell? What?
I think it did. What, the album?
Yeah,
I think the album did 235,000, and it's still
still selling.
still sells. Yeah.
Yeah. And the next one, what, did about 190 or something?
Yeah, something like that. 180. I don't know, because they do keep on selling
Yeah.
for some strange reason.
Yeah, I can't understand it either. But that sold really well. And then the last album, Straight, everybody said, oh, what a failure. You know, what an absolute failure.
Well, we've been plagued with this problem because our first album being so successful, which I guess is not a problem, but sort of if you don't sort of match it subsequently, everyone sort of thinks things aren't happening. But the Straight album was a platinum album.
Yeah,
You know,
what,
I
sold
think-
about 60,000?
Yeah,
something?
something like that. And
Anybody else sold 60,000 and
yeah,
they
well,
reckon it's amazing.
if you go to a record company and say, I've got an act that's going to sell you 60,000 albums, they'll say, sign here.
Yeah, right.
But, no, you know, our main aim is just to keep on making good albums,
Yeah.
which we'll continue to do for as long as possible.
Well, living in the 70s was the thing that started it all for you. I mean,
Yeah,
it was-
right. I guess we're all pleased that it was our first album that was successful. 'Cause,
Here he is back
Come back
again.
in.
yes,
Sorry,
we were just
handouts
getting
around the
serious.
back.
You've been
Cheryl.
excused, Cheryl. We didn't give the
What
permission
did
to
you
come
talk
back
about
in.
me? What did you say? Come on.
We got down to some serious topics. We talked about numbers of records that you've sold, and
Me personally or the band?
no, we don't want to talk about your solo career. It's so low it can't get any further.
Well, I never really wanted to go too far.
Yeah,
You haven't, Cheryl.
yeah, it was sponsored by the Lemonade people. His
Terex.
solo career.
Terex label it was on.
We're giving you marching orders now. Get out. of here.
Right. Here we go.
Very
No,
nice.
Oh, goodness. But look, when you wrote Living in the 70s, I mean,
Yeah. Actually-
everything's changed since then. You know, I mean, that whole glitter and
Yeah, right.
everything, you know, I mean, from 74 at that time.
Well, there's punk rock now, isn't there?
Yeah.
There was never any punk rock then.
But it died for a while. Everything went really bland and middle of the road and laid back. And now all these people like the Stranglers and Radis Novakitis and the Dictators and Iggy Stooge and Iggy Pop and the Stooges and all that sort of stuff, you know. Yes, John O'Donnell, Shirley, every little bit punks.
Yeah, right.
Every little bit stunk.
It's hard for one person to write all the music for a band. It tends to get into a groove, I think.
Hard when you release albums once a year, isn't it?
No. Oh, yeah. Well,
I'm not rolling around.
I don't know. I don't know if I've got. I'm pretty varied. I don't think I get into the one groove that much.
Yeah.
But
It's because you've got
No,
a good
it's-
turntable, probably.
Well, what are you writing songs about at the moment?
Oh, let me tell you.
well, sort of on the next album, there's a couple sort of things that are a bit more in the local vein. There's one called Sitting in the Bar in Adelaide, another called The Daughters of Brighton.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. Mail Street?
No, New Street.
Oh, I live in Mail. I thought you might have written about
You
somebody
down
down
in
there.
Brighton?
Yes.
Oh,
It's-
must be doing
It's
well,
all,
John.
It's
I'm
all
so
about a
proud
little
of you.
encounter in the Safeway parking lot out the back of the Safeway.
Oh, yes.
Or it sort of takes place in the back of a
Friday
Volvo.
night.
Wasn't that the Great
Late
Book of
night
Robbery?
shopping, Friday night,
Yeah,
half past
late night,
9,
yeah,
10 o'clock,
yeah,
when everyone's
enough
out.
said. There's a few political songs I've been doing.
Good car park at the Croxton Park, they say on the ads.
Oh, no.
So you're writing about Brighton and Adelaide, a bar in Adelaide, huh?
Hotels.
Oh yeah, and there's
Lyrics.
one of the yeah.
Endless
Let's not give it
We
all
can't
away.
give it
but
away, no.
Yeah,
We'll tell you about that on the next
I think
special.
the next album will be more varied than perhaps the last one in terms of.
Heavier.
Yeah, it'll be a bit heavier. We've got Mr. Spencer playing a lead guitar on this. Yeah.
God, that was him feeding back, ladies and
As your
gentlemen.
mate,
He
as
just
your
plugged
mate
in.
Keith said once in court, I'm a lead guitarist, Your Honour, because I make the most noise. That's what he said.
I love it.
And
For Spence.
when's the album out?
Well, we got to record it first, which we're doing in October with,
Eddie Leonetti,
and
Who's Eddie Leonetti?
Jack Douglas's right-hand man. Now, I don't want you to take
He's a
that.
record
Could be the wrong
producer.
Who's
way.
Jack Douglas?
You call yourself a disc jockey, John O'Donnell?
Jack Douglas is God's right-hand man.
I thought Moses was.
Don't you know any of your
he's-
big
he's
pop
ceased.
stars?
No, we're importing a couple of septic tanks to produce the next album, actually.
Yeah.
But,
Got to, and to update our Board of Works sewage system here,
Yeah,
which
it's cheaper
Mr.
in
Croxford
Concord.
has been making himself
actually,
useful.
We should, Greg, you
I
should
used to
tell him
sit
what...
next to one of his daughters in state school.
Mr. Croxford?
Yeah.
Oh, pity you didn't marry her. With all that money coming in after he retired.
Did you help her with her homework?
We were interested to see how we sound with a different producer, and so it should be good, I think.
Yeah, and do you think you'll get a sound that'll put you on that international level?
Yeah, but we're not sort of. I don't want to say we're just going to get a sound that's going to be an international sound for the sake of it. I mean,
you want to do it because you want to make a good record anyway.
Yeah, we're an Australian band. I'd like to have an Australian sound which is on an international level, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Rather than sounding like an American band.
Where will you record it? TCS again?
In Melbourne.
I'm in Melbourne, I think. I'm not too sure which studio.
Oh, I didn't. I shouldn't have said that.
I can't
It all
convince the
depends
guys to
on
move to Sydney.
where the engineer wants to do it. If he wants to do it at the 3XY studios,
At the
we'll do
Bombay,
it there.
Bombay Bicycle Club.
Yes.
Oh,
Or
no.
Melbourne Fish Market,
You might have
There's
to.
better sound in the meat market, actually.
Punt
Greg.
Road self-serve garage.
No, we did the last album at the meat market, didn't we?
Sausalito Meat Market.
No, the Melbourne meat market.
Actually,
Just sent a photo.
with all the Right.
The
With
black
all the
sheep.
money that Gadinsky's making at the moment, you should be able to afford to do it.
Oh, no, the ferrets
Yeah.
keep on spending it.
Michael's wonderful. If we'd said we wanted to do the next album on the moon, he'd say, "Okay, when do you want to leave?"
Hang on, I'll just check
that?
on the rates. Actually,
All right.
Michael's a very good one for ringing up saying, not saying, how's it going? Is it sounding great? First thing is, how long have you been going?
Well, look-
When will you finish?
Give us a look at that album. I think this is the one I wanted to leave you on because there it is. Yes, Red wrote it, so I don't want to talk to you guys about it. I'll call him or bring him in here. And we'll
That's
do that.
okay. I'm doubling as Red. I just I
You
just
mean
shave off my
you're
beard
forging-
and tell
you're
intellectual
forging-
jokes that
Yeah,
nobody
you're forging
understands.
for it.
That's all.
Would you put on your intellectual and Carlton cap?
Yes, my
I can tell
intellectual.
everything you want to know about that
cultured
track.
voice.
All right. Well, you tell me, and then I'll ask him, and we'll see how it works out.
Yeah, well, actually, it'd be interesting to see his answer. But in actual fact, so the reason he wrote that song
Talking to the
because
microphone,
Red,
sure. Out of your mouth.
Red had a prior conviction
Ah.
for forging and
Uttering, yeah.
muttering. He tried to rip off a bank, he and his partner.
A lot of people think this is
It's not.
a false story, but it's true.
This is true. You ask the US Embassy when he had to get his visa. They'll tell you.
Fort Knox.
No, that's the reason he wrote the song, Forging Ahead, because of this little setup to try and rip off a bank. Like politely, it wasn't guns or anything like that. It was the other way. Would have probably been better the other way, actually.
Oh, God, you're hopeless. I tell you. Well, listen, this has been really so boring. I mean,
Well, I hope we can bore you sometime again in the future, John.
I haven't had
Want
as-
to come round for tea? I've got some Butte rat sack in the fridge.
reminds me of the time when we had Red in here for the first album rave, I think, and he was talking about the dead rat on his back fence in Carlton.
I think it's still there.
And so is Red. Oh, God. Thanks for coming in. Greg, especially, it's been really nice. I didn't mean to say those
I'd watch that
things
right
about
arm.
Jenny.
I'd watch that
Thank you,
right
John.
arm. By gee
Jenny
whiz.
who?
Okay. Listen, good night, good morning, good afternoon, and good day.
Hope you can play it.
Good fishing.
It's been good being with
Catch
you.
anything? No. Hook, line and sinker.
Holy mackerel.
Good riddance.